Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, May 17th. I'm Denise Douglas.
And I'm Byron Scott. Thank you for joining us. Well, since his election to the Prince George's County Council in 2010, District 9 Councilman Mel Franklin has enjoyed an active and largely scandal-free political career.
That's right, Byron. That is until late last year when he caused the crash that sent 2 people to the hospital. He pled guilty to charges in connection with that incident and is ready to talk about it. He spoke with our reporter, Rochelle Metzger, who joins us now with the details. What's going on?
Denise, Byron, a well-respected lawmaker. Mel Franklin's arrest last November shocked many. He says he's wanted to talk but couldn't speak publicly because of the legal case that was pending. That has since been resolved, and he's ready to speak out. You may recall the Prince George's council member entered a guilty plea on Friday to driving under the influence of alcohol and related charges stemming from the November 2016 crash. Mel Franklin says he had a few drinks at a business event, got behind the wheel of his county SUV, and then hit a Mercedes at a red light in Upper Marlboro. As part of his plea deal, he'll pay a $645 fine. Franklin says he's learned a difficult lesson and that the price of his mistake could have cost him so much more.
I mean, this whole situation has changed my life in that I'm going to be and have become a much more responsible person. I almost look at this as God tapping me on the shoulder and saying, look, you're not invincible. And, this is a second chance for you to sort of be more responsible going forward so that, you're around for your kids, you're around for, because, when you get behind the wheel of a car, when you're not in the right condition to drive, it could be the end of your life, not only your life, but others. I really took this whole situation seriously. I did do a 12-week alcohol education program with this organization called TAPE. It's an acronym, and also the Maryland has an Ignition Interlock program that I'm enrolled in. You don't have to have a drinking problem to cause a lot of damage by a really bad decision. So I want to communicate that to folks. This could happen to you if you're out there and you have a habit of, like I said, in a social environment that's mixed in with our business lives. Please take a second look at these decisions that may seem small.
Franklin says he has offered his deepest apologies to Mr. and Mrs. Collins, the couple in the Mercedes. According to their attorney, they've required hospitalization and medical treatment following the crash. And Mr. Franklin really says his message here is to other elected officials who regularly socialize at these business and professional events, have a few drinks, get behind the wheel. He wants them to use his experience as a message that it's so important to find other ways to get home, whether it's Uber or a taxi. You can always go up and pick up your car later. But obviously this could have been so much worse, and he just hopes that others can learn from his mistake.
I found it kind of interesting. He said there that he felt this whole experience was kind of like God tapping him on his shoulder. So clearly sounds like he's learned. What about his future in terms of political aspirations? We know there were rumors he was going to run for county executive.
Well, he says he sees himself as a lifelong public servant, but he really wants to focus on taking responsibility for what happened and making sure that he's able to spread his message to others. He does say, stay tuned. He says this is not the end for him. He sees definitely more to come, and that he will be making decisions in terms of 2018, but he's not ready to make them yet, or at least announce them publicly.
Thank you. Right. Thank you for sharing. As the White House continues to work in damage control mode, House Speaker Paul Ryan cautioned people about rushing to judgment about President Trump. He says information is being gathered about President Trump's firing of FBI Director James Comey and any Russian connections to the administration. Ryan refused to call for a special prosecutor, as Democrats have, saying more facts are needed.
Investigation occurring at the FBI. There's an investigation in the House, and there's an investigation in the Senate. So we've got 3 investigations going on. I'm not going to micromanage or armchair quarterback investigations. But the point is this. We can't deal with speculation and innuendo. And there's clearly a lot of politics being played. Our job is to get the facts and to be sober about doing that.
Meanwhile, Congressman Anthony Brown has introduced a bill that would prevent the President of the U.S. from firing the director of the FBI without good cause. Brown says the measure would ensure that the director can perform his duties and be free from threats.
Outrageous and unacceptable. That's how Senator Ben Cardin characterizes one of the latest controversies billowing from the White House. Cardin, like many of his colleagues, is highly critical of President Trump for releasing classified information to the Russian foreign minister and ambassador while they met recently at the White House.
Sensitive information to countries who don't share our values, compromising our relationship with partners that are getting us critically important intelligence information. That could make it more difficult for us to get this information in the future and could jeopardize the security of our country.
Now, the president has defended his actions, as has his national security advisor, H.R. McMaster, who calls the president's sharing of sensitive material wholly acceptable.